everybody, and welcome to the return of Happy News Stories. You've all seen it, you've all heard it, if you've been around the internet at all, even if you're like me who doesn't really follow the news a whole lot just because it's depressing, but the doom and gloom news stories are everywhere, and it always just drives your mood right into the ground and just sets you up for a horrible day. So, this is actually the fourth video I've done for Happy News Stories. And way back when, I decided that why not get some happy news stories out there? So I go to my trusted place of good news, and I thought I would spread it out to the world. So this is the fourth video, and let's get right to it. And here we are. This is goodnewsnetwork.org. I'm not being sponsored by them or anything. This is just my go-to place to, like I said, see what's going on in the world of good, which I always tell my kids is like, there's always way more good in the world going on than bad, whether you believe that or not, looking at the news and everything else. But the good news just doesn't get reported because it doesn't sell as many newspapers or draw as many ratings or anything like that. So bad news sells, but we're here to report happy news stories. Bumblebees are hitting back at Asian hornets with top-tier combat skills, reveals research. Buff-tailed bumblebees drop to the ground when hornets attack, carrying the pests down with them, according to the findings. Hornets lose their grip as they drop, or the bee raises its sting and fights until the hornet gives up. Stunned scientists at University of Exeter, I'm definitely not pronouncing that right, witnessed 120 attacks that took the same course, with the bee triumphing each time. That's pretty friggin' amazing. And we need the bumblebees to survive. With honeybees, the hornets do something called hawking, hovering outside the bee's nest and attacking returning foragers as they fly past, said Dr. Thomas O'Shea-Weller at the University of whatever. I'm very sorry. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that because I'm just going to get laughed at. But we recorded hornets doing the same thing to bumblebees, but with the surprising difference that in our observations they were entirely unsuccessful. So the hornets tried to do the same thing and it didn't work. That's really pretty funny, to be perfectly honest with you. I forgot to mention I'm recording this on a Monday, October 9th, so that's where these stories will be coming from. This video is probably going on Wednesday. Dad's love letter to a small-town public library. A Massachusetts man wrote a love letter that was published in his local newspaper, the Salem Evening News, in late August, but it wasn't your normal love letter. As a stay-at-home dad with two young children, Sean Devlin soon learned that the historical downtown library, which opened in 1913, had a fantastic children's program. I personally never used a public library as a child or as a young adult, he told GNN. So this is where the love letter starts, describing our wonderful experiences going there hundreds of times, even to this day. It then goes on to post the entire letter in full, which I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I will point out some of it. When they were just babies, Rory and Natasha would crawl around the children's room at the library. Soon enough, the wooden train whistle would blow, and they were lining up to go to story hour and to make crafts in the craft room. They both would take out big stacks of pretty sure they meant to say books, to bring back home. My wife Michelle would read to them every night. There were books everywhere. By now the librarians were like family, and the library itself was a home away from home. We were even going to retirement goodbyes and memorial services, one being for our dear friend and children's librarian Nancy Bond. Eventually Natasha and Rory started volunteering at the library and participated in fundraising events for the new book mobile, and they also helped with the library book sale. The election day book sale was always fun, with books and people everywhere and all the excitement of the election. Oh, that's pretty cool. It's very cool that they started volunteering there after going there for so long. They got involved in the community, which is always important. So this is my love letter to the Beverly Public Library and all their staff, both living and dead. I finished writing, clicked my pen, and placed my notebook back in my bag. When I stood up from the bench, a young mother and her child walked by. The child looked up to me and said, "I'm going to the library." Aww. Sean told us later that the reaction from the librarians and staff to the love letter was wonderful. They were so appreciative. Even the custodian thanked me. One librarian cried. Oh, that's really awesome. That's a cool little story of one getting attached to their community, and now the kids even got involved and things like that. So that's really cool. Hero surfer rescues stranded deer in ocean. Photographer captures moment. Really? This one I gotta see. Rough seas are no place for the uninitiated, and they couldn't get more uninitiated than a pair of hooves. That's for damn sure. From New Jersey comes the story of a good Samaritan rescuing a deer that had somehow found itself battling the surf off the coast of Belmar. At first, she being Adrienne Tully, the photographer, told News 12 she thought it was a bird and left it at that, but later she spotted a crowd of onlookers coalescing around the sea at 15th Avenue, pointing at the same jetty that she had seen the bird on. That was when she realized it was a buck, not a bird. He was swimming through the ocean, and then he decided a couple of times to climb on the jetty, and then he went back in the water, and we were a little worried, said Tully. After taking a few pictures, the crowd cheered when it saw a friendly surfer pass by and coaxed the animal out of the confusing, eddying water and toward the shore. There was a nice surfer, I don't know his name, but he eventually tried to guide the deer out. The deer came out and just ran north on the beach, far away from any people, and I'm sure he's fine, said Tully. Other surfers said the water was pretty turbulent, and they doubted whether the buck could have made it alone, but unanimously admitted they didn't know the surfer that had rescued it. News 12 New Jersey is still seeking the identity of the Good Samaritan. Oh, well, I hope he sees that or hears about it. The dude deserves his flowers. That's pretty freaking cool. Really, to save an animal from anything, because, they don't know how to get themselves out, situations like that. So, yeah, that's really cool. He just came out of nowhere and no one knew who he was. This dude was like Surfer Superman. Trapped on tiny ledge, fallen hiker with mangled legs rescued by off-duty Air Force hero. Captain Joshua Havman, 60th Air Evacuation Squadron, was hiking the famous peak, that being Yosemite's Half Dome, in September when he saw a climber slip in wet conditions and fall perhaps as many as 80 feet down into a precarious ledge. Without hesitation, Havman took action. Faced with harsh winds, slippery rock, and hail, he made a decision to venture outside the permanent cable barriers to reach the fallen climber, Travis Air Force Base wrote in a statement. His climbing experience and extensive medical training proved invaluable in this life-or-death situation. You could see that his legs were not naturally oriented at all, so I started collecting sticks from Subdome and started climbing, Havman recalled. Other climbers were concerned for my safety, but the guy was just up there screaming in pain, so I left the cable area and climbed on the ledge. There's definitely a lot more to this article, and I would suggest that you read it because it's definitely amazing, but it says ultimately the climber was medically evacuated via helicopter, receiving the critical medical attention they urgently required. Without Havman's swift and selfless actions, the outcome could have been far more tragic. It's safe to say on behalf of the injured climber and everyone else in the country, things can only go so wrong when we have people like Captain Havman looking and walking among us. His bravery and ingenuity are a credit to the force and the country at large. Well, there you go. See, like I always say, there's heroes everywhere. They just don't get their props, and of course a true hero doesn't want any props. But that's a awesome situation, and Havman is definitely a hero. Cops jump a fence to catch suicidal woman's arms just in time on Indiana overpass. Ryan Helmsey and Taylor Atkinson arrive at the I-35 overpass in northwest Indiana where a woman was threatening to jump. The bridge over a series of railroad tracks was flanked by sidewalks and a chain-link fence. As Atkinson and Helmsey arrived, the woman was already making her way down the other side of the fence, at which point the two men began begging her not to jump. When it was clear she wasn't stopping, Helmsey sprinted over the fence, mounted it, and grabbed the woman's hand, and then she let go. She let go? Oh my god. With nothing but air separating her feet from a 30-foot drop on the loose rock and steel tracks, Atkinson arrived seconds later and grabbed the other arm. That's like shit out of like a TV show or a movie or something. That's pretty crazy. They held on like this for several minutes until a fire truck that had arrived under the overpass was able to provide a bucket to lower the woman into. They completely put their well-being aside to go over that fence and hang on, said LaPorte Police Chief Paul Breton. She was begging them to let go. They would not do that. The chain link fence was installed there to protect potentially suicidal people, and since its placement years ago, there haven't been any calls. Atkinson said he was surprised when he heard one. The two men were honored by the police department with special commendations and the occasionally used moniker of Spider-Man for their comic book rescue. Well, there you have it. Two more heroes saving the life of a person that was begging to let go of their life. And I just gotta say, it kind of hits home a little bit. As someone who has tried, I implore anyone out there that's thinking about it, please do not do that to yourself. Please do not take your own life. You do not understand the pain that you will leave behind, and you think that people will get over it, but they don't. And I've been on both sides of the situation, so it's a bit of a touchy subject for me, but yeah, that's all I really want to say about that kind of thing is there's someone out there that wants to help you. Sometimes it's just a matter of asking the right person. There are plenty of options out there. So, I would definitely say, and I know how hard it is, but think very carefully before you do something like that, and find help wherever you can find it. Someone out there loves you. You just got to give them a chance. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Happy News Stories. I really hope you all enjoyed that. I thought it'd be a fun thing to bring back with the end of NBA 2K23. I needed more ideas, but I kind of dipped back into the vault for this one. And I do like doing the Happy News Story stuff because, like I said in the beginning, it's, good news is out there. It just doesn't get reported as much because it doesn't sell. But, I always like being the deliverer of good news, so this was an opportunity to do so. And if you guys like it, maybe I'll do more in the future. Like I said, go check out goodnewsnetwork.org if you want to check out some more stories, and I'm pretty sure they update every day, so that's worth checking out if you like that kind of stuff. In the meantime, go to robertblanchardbooks.com. If you'd like to check out my books, you can read the first 3 chapters of each book there for free. If you want to hear more about them, you can go listen to the Rise of Dragons podcast wherever you find your favorite podcast. You can go visit my link tree at Bobby's World 2110. There's a link there for the Facebook page for my YouTube channel, which you can follow and get updates as new videos go up. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Bobby's World 2110. And that's pretty much going to do it. So I hope everyone has an amazing day. And I will catch you guys next time. Until then, it's Bobby's World, and you're all just living in it. CLC for life, y'all. Bye. What's going on, guys? Thank you for checking out the video today. But I got a question for you. Did you know I wrote a book? Did you know I wrote 3 books? Did you know that they're all part of the same series? The Roar of a Dragon, The Treachery of a Weasel, and The Cry of a Raven. ReadersFavorite.com says that its intensity rivals that of the Game of Thrones series. Now, I personally think that's crazy, but it's not for me to judge. It's for you to judge. Go to robertblanchardbooks.com and you can check out the books right now. But wait, that's not all. All 3 books got 5-star reviews in ReadersFavorite.com. These books won the silver medal in the Literary Titan Awards. The Cry of a Raven won silver at the Global eBook Awards. So what are you waiting for? Read about Aiden's dream to become a Knight of Delmar. Read about his death and resurrection. Oops, I gave that away, didn't I? And read about his journey back home from 3,000 years in the future to stop the evil that started in Delmar. Go to robertblanchardbooks.com. You can read the first 3 chapters of each book there for free. And then, if you're interested, you can buy the books there as well. And if you've already read the books or you just want to hear more about them, you can check out the Rise of Dragons podcast. You can listen to it wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And in every episode, I cover a character from the book, an event from the book, my journey into writing, and everything in between. Ripley, what do you got to say about all this?
Give me a treat or I will end you.
You know she's telling you to check out the books. Go to robertblanchardbooks.com to check out the books or listen to the Rise of Dragons podcast if you want to hear about them. That's all I got to say, and thank you for watching this video.